Man, I almost dropped my sandwich. Hello, you beautiful weirdos. How's everyone doing today? I'm sure you're all aware of the Loreley Splendor nerf that Bungie decided to grace us Titans with. It was a big hit, but to be fair, it was understandable because the healing was a bit overkill. Luckily, Bungie didn't overcompensate on the nerf and completely kill it as they have in the past. I'm looking at you, Cannonball Arms. Long story short, the Loreley now only gives 50 HP of healing per second instead of 80, which brings it in line with a regular old Sunspot. This opens the door up to allow some other exotics to shine. One of those exotics is the Pheonix Cradle, but before we get into this, I want to be clear, the Loreley Splendor is still a top tier exotic, so please, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I'm just here to shine some light on these gems that have been collecting dust in everyone's vault. The Pheonix Cradle exotic perk is called Beacons of Empowerment. Sol Invictus lasts twice as long. Allies passing through our Sunspot are granted Sol Invictus and ×1 restoration. This is what makes the exotic so powerful. Not only are we getting restoration and a 100% boost to our grenade melee recharge rate for 10 seconds by just passing through a Sunspot, we're also now giving those same benefits to our teammates. Think about that for a moment. When we're in an activity like a raid with our extra trashy fire team who can't stay alive, and we all got them, they can pass through all the little sunspots we create with the baby hammer for a constant uptime on restoration. And don't worry, I get it, my fellow Titans. We're so used to being alone and not needing to worry about teammates that we forgot what working with the other classes felt like. It'll be a bit awkward at first, but I assure you, it gets better. Just watch out for the creepy hunter who wants to emote on you all the time. That shit gets annoying. No. To complement this team-oriented exotic and playstyle, I put a straightforward build together that feeds everyone orbs and healing for days. The main focus is Sol Invictus, Roaring Flames, and our baby Bonk Hammer, because these three together are one of the most consistent ways of creating sunspots on demand. Sol Invictus is what creates the sunspots from ability kills to feed our abilities and the healing for our team, and Roaring Flames boosts our ability damage by 30% with 3 stacks to make sure we get kills with the baby hammer to create sunspots. I feel like I'm stuck in a loop. Those two aspects give us 4 fragment slots to play around with, and since this is a team-focused build, we're using Ember of Benevolence to boost grenade, melee, and class ability recharge rate by 200% when applying Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to our teammates. That goes hand in hand with our next fragment, Ember of Torches. This one grants Radiant to us and our fire team members when damaging an enemy with our melee ability. It's a great fragment to pair with the Bonk Hammer because we have no cooldown as long as we go pick the hammer up, so we can always apply Radiant to get the ability regen from Benevolence. You might be asking yourself, why do we want ability regen in the first place when we're using a hammer that refreshes the moment we pick it up? I'll give you 2 reasons, healing grenades and damage phases. During a damage phase, we can throw the hammer at the boss and buff our whole team's DPS with Radiant. We can't exactly go pick the hammer up, so we need it to recharge fast from proccing Benevolence. And healing grenades apply Cure and Restoration to the whole team, which once again procs Benevolence, so we can keep feeding our team Radiant and Restoration. I'm stuck in one of those loops again, somebody please send help. But we're not done with the team support yet. The next fragment is Ember of Tempering to grant us and our fire team plus 30 to recovery with 3 stacks when getting kills with a solar weapon. This goes great with something like the Callus Mini Tool or the Vex Mythic class because we can keep mowing ads down, especially with Radiant active. Plus, and don't laugh, it pairs with our last fragment, Ember of Empyrean. This fragment extends the duration of Radiant and Restoration when getting solar weapon or ability kills. It only applies to us, but hey, we need to look out for ourselves once in a while too, since we'll probably be carrying the whole team anyways. Now for the mods, I wanted to really drive the team support narrative home in a few different ways, by dropping lots of solar elemental wells and orbs. One of the easiest ways to create elemental wells on the Titan is with Melee Wellmaker and the Bonk Hammer, and it just so happens one of the easiest ways to make orbs is with Elemental Charge, Striking Light, and you guessed it, the Bonk Hammer. When we get a kill with the hammer, it drops a solar well from Melee Wellmaker, and when we pick the well up, we now become charged with light from Elemental Charge. Every melee kill after that drops an orb of power from Striking Light as long as we keep collecting the solar wells from Melee Wellmaker. To help us help our team even more, we're also equipping bountiful wells to drop 2 wells instead of 1. This not only benefits us with the hammer and ability regen, it also helps our team with their abilities, and if they equip Well of Life, which just so happens to be our last mod, they can go around collecting our wells for bonus healing. Well of Life on its own is okay at best, but with Restoration and Cure from Sol Invictus and our healing nades, it almost brings us back to the 2x restoration that Lorelei Splendor used to give us. Not quite, but almost. I think we're like 17 HP off. For the minor mods, we have to go with hands-on on the helmet for all the extra super energy for melee kills, damage resistance mods on the chest, and outreach on the class item for melee energy when using our class ability. Outreach will help in those situations when we do throw our hammer during a damage phase. We can drop a rally barricade for our team and get melee energy at the same time. I would recommend slotting Striking Light on the class item as well, so we can take advantage of the 25% damage reduction while sprinting from using a second arc mod. That's the build. We run around supplying everything from healing and orbs of power all the way up to weapon damage buffs and ability regen, and it all comes from a simple melee and exotic. It's almost as if we can, dare I say it, be a better warlock? Okay, not quite, but yeah, sounded cool. We can't get any more supportive than that. If we do, we might as well play the game for our fire team. Let me know what you think of the build. As always, be true to yourself, be good to one another, and have a fantastic day. Thank you!
Take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude. Crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently. Thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.